And we're live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Tommo and welcome to my pre-race Chinwag, my predictions for the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Roll intro. How are we doing, everyone? Hello, Heiki, Bloodhound, Nate, Jerome, Mikkel, Zach, Charmander, Alexander, Jamie, Axel, Kev, Brian, Luke, Road Rage, Luca, Desktop, David, Mikkel, Oscar, Techno Andrew, Pitlane Pulse, Liam, Jerome, Chucky, Darkman, Sletton, Moon One, Waff, Daniel, Mike, Laser Blue, Gleep Glurp, what a name. Also, that first name, get well soon, Heikki Kovalainen. Apparently he's having open heart surgery. I was reading an article about that earlier. So, thinking of you, Heikki. Legendary F1 driver, of course, alongside Lewis Hamilton back in the early McLaren days. Not the earliest McLaren days, obviously, after Fernando Alonso left, Heikki came in and took over. So get well soon, Heikki Kovalainen. Welcome to the stream. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you all coming along. Bit later than usual. Me and Hannah have been busy today. We've been doing stuff. So typically I do these midday, but I don't mind doing these a bit later because now I'm catching time zones that I don't usually catch. Okay? It's all good. It's all good. So thank you for coming. Also, welcome to everyone who's here audio only, post, and of course VOD, YouTube post as well. If you don't want to look at my face, then you can go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and all that and listen. Okay? Maybe it's not convenient at some time, right? You can just do that as well. You can give that a go. It's 3:02 in Texas in the morning, Gabe. Go to bed, bro. Go to bed. I look red, do I? I look a bit red today. I mean, to be fair, I'm quite a pink human, aren't I? And my background's pink, so I kind of blend in. Because the walls are a bit beige and pink, and I'm a bit beige and pink. You know? Camouflage into the background. It's afternoon in Texas. Oh, okay. So you said 03. So by saying 03, that implied 3 in the morning. I was like, what? It's 3 in the morning in Texas. Fine. I mean, you can have a midday nap, you know. You can still go to bed if you want. Right. Anyway, round 2, the 2024 Formula 1 season. Saudi Arabia, back at Jeddah. A circuit, you know what? I think in a relatively short time has established itself as a pretty exciting one. Now, I know when it first came onto the calendar, there were concerns about safety. We've had, we had 20, what was it? 21 the first year at Jeddah? 21, 22, 23. So we've had 3. We've had 3 goes at it. And it's a pretty established track now. But it's not the future, is it? It's not the future. We saw a bunch of posts today. And actually, I only know about, obviously I don't only know about this because of this, but I first knew about this and I missed a lot of the, all of this stuff basically. You see Fernando Alonso posting Qiddiya? I'm going to say Qiddiya. I think that's how it's pronounced. Qiddiya City circuit, which basically, I mean, this is straight out of Mario Kart, right? The track is like here, and it's on a bridge, right? And there's all these renders that have been posted by numerous drivers, right? Not all disclosing #ad, but this is what the future of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix might look like. But the reason I first found out about this is because an old mate of mine, Mark from uni, shout out Mark, my old flatmate back in the day, the company that he works for actually worked on this, on these renders and on the video and all that, because he does like animation stuff. Very, very clever bloke. So yeah, he sent me this over and was like, look at this. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And yeah, I know it's in the air, PP. It's straight out of Rainbow Road. So there's some madness coming in the future for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The track map looks all right. We're not going to get into the details of that though, because it's all very, you know, I mean, look at it. And, you know, I do believe that there are quite a few mega projects in this region of the world that have started and not necessarily finished. So this looks crazy, all right? Whether we'll actually see that come to the fore and actually become real life, who knows, right? I'm not massively convinced, but Fernando, next time just do the #ad, okay? You forgot the #ad. Whoops. Whoops. But yeah, Jeddah. You know what? As a circuit for current modern F1, I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good track. I'm excited for this one. As a circuit, it delivers. I think. Exciting racing. There's obviously a very questionable. What was it? Was it the first year when there was the explosions going off in the background? You know, obviously there's a lot of moral objectivity around racing in Saudi Arabia in the first place. Look, it's the world we live in at the end of the day. It's the world we live in. And Alex, I don't disagree. Well, from what I heard anyway, what I understand with your super chat either. It's a complex but very simple also situation, isn't it? They go where the money goes, and that's just Formula One, isn't it? But yeah, we're back again in Saudi Arabia. And what happened last time? Well, Checo won. Vibes, always vibes. Seeing Checo on the top of the podium. This was a point last year where he had won 2 races. Max had won. No, wait. What round was Saudi last year? Was it round 2? Yeah, because this was Max won the opener. Checo, this was round 2. And then Checo won Baku. Did Max, was it Australia round 3? I can't remember. Regardless, Checo brought home the bacon. He brought home the win. And he was helped in a big way by the issue that Max had in qualifying. What was the issue? Does anyone remember? I know it was kind of start of Q2. The car just engine issue. Went Pete Tong for Max, didn't it? And drive shaft sounds familiar. Daniel, yeah, Selective says that as well. Electric issue, drive shaft, something like that. So Max had an issue, qualified, I think P15 it was in the end. Still managed to recover through. In fact, what was the gap? Anyone know the gap off the top of their head between Checo and Max by the end? And again, Max qualified, I think it was P15. Yes, P15, Max qualified. And the gap between him and Checo, Wiguin got it right. 5.355 seconds in the end. From P15 to within 5 seconds of the win. So Max, and this was before Baku, before Max made his breakthrough with the car. So, yeah, I mean, looking at that, you got to think, look, Sergio gapped Fernando by 20 seconds, over 20 seconds at the end. And I remember this one because Fernando took the lead, didn't he? Out of turn 1. Fernando took the lead, which was a vibe. Doesn't seem that's going to happen this year. You had Stroll do a great move on the outside of Carlos Sainz. I really remember that one because I remember watching last lap doing that. And that was unreal. Unfortunately, Lance broke down. He was having a pretty good race up until that point. Max was frustrated. Checo had pace. Yeah, well, you know, Max didn't understand the car like he does now. This time last year, and also he qualified 15th. So, you know, fair enough. But yeah, that's what happened last time out. What will happen this time out? Well, driver standing wise, after one of 24 race weekends, I updated the graphic this time. Look at me, remember. What happened to the last lap? To be honest, I didn't want to give my weekends, my Sundays to it anymore, to go into London every race. So I decided I wasn't going to continue last year. And yeah, there was a collective decision not to carry it on. So there you go. It means I've got more freedom in my weekends now. And that's kind of what I want in my life right now. But it was fun while it lasted. I enjoyed doing the last lap. Niren's a great guy. And it was very good fun. But yeah, this is how the Drivers' Championship stands. Max has maximum points, of course, 26. Win with fastest lap. Checo 18, Sainz 15, Leclerc 12, Russell 10, Norris 8, Hamilton 6, Piastri 4, Alonso 2, Stroll 2. It's going to be tough for anyone outside them top 5 teams to score a point this year, isn't it? It is going to be tough because there seems to be a very established, that gap between Aston Martin and the rest seems pretty significant. Freedom for more sausage dogs. You would say that, wouldn't you, Hannah? You would say that. Not yet. Not yet, all right? Yuki P11 merchant still, sadly. Well, I mean, he's joint P11, kind of, in a way. Nil points. Nil points. In the driver standings, Constructors is as follows. Obviously, Sauber with Joe getting P11 up there. Haas up there and all. Racing Bulls, Alpine, P10, stinkers. But Red Bull, good points, best points, maximum points from the first weekend. But Ferrari up there with Charles and Carlos. So as long as Ferrari can stay reliable, and I think they'll have their opportunities. I think Charles will win a race this year. And I think Carlos could well win a race as well. He's the one who did it last year at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think... You know what? I've not given up. A lot of people, you look at that 22.5 second gap that Max had over Checo, which I know people will just be like, "Oh, you're just having a go at Checo again." Like, I don't know. I've seen far too many people analyze Checo's weekend and be like, "He did a really good job." He's 22.5 seconds behind his teammate. It's a good thing with wife having the live stream is that she can bring the sausage on demand. That is a quote and a half, isn't it? Here he is. There's the sausage in question. Say hello to your adoring fans. Yeah, but yeah, to overtake like 5 cars. That was his fault for qualifying 5th in the best car? I don't know. Anyway, right? He got 2nd, which is the bare minimum in that car. It was the bare minimum last year, and it's the bare minimum now, You all right, buddy? No, they've got nothing to... No insight to impart. Right, why don't you go on my shoulder for a bit? I reckon we can do Minton on the shoulder for a bit, all right? I'm sure you lot will be happy with that. Don't fall off. Right, come on. Sometimes, like, literally earlier, we were out uptown, and I was just standing with him on my shoulder, and there were people like laughing, and I was like, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Don't laugh. Don't you dare laugh at this wonderful beast. Bright screens in my eyes. Yeah, to be fair, that I've got the big not ring light, the big key light, that's it, up there, so probably doesn't like that in his eyes, does he? Bless him. Thank you, Ender, by the way, for the super chat. Is a 3rd live show happening with Aldas? No plans to as of yet, Ender. We lost a good chunk of money on, well, especially the 2nd one. So, unless we can kind of make it profitable, I'd love to do another one. We'll see. Hopefully at some point. Also, I just realised I really need to plug these batteries in, because I feel like my at some point fairly soon the battery's going to die on this camera, so I need to get some other batteries juiced up. Live show in Melbourne anytime soon. Oh, Jamie, I'd love that. I would love that. We'll see. Minimum spends a killer. What can I say? Right, so they're the team standings as they stand. Let's do predictions. My predictions for the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I also asked for yours. I didn't give you much notice. Again, I was out today, and I kind of forgot to post it this morning. I should have done it, and I forgot. So we got about just under 1,000 votes, which is still great. Thank you for voting if you did. I pinned it at the top, but it's closed now. But starting off with my predictions for the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Any thoughts who I'm going to give the race win to? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Maybe Logan Saw, Kevin, Magnayukis, no, Adrian. It's Max Verstappen, of course. It's Max Verstappen. Of course he's going to win. He was 5 seconds off winning, qualifying 15th last year in a car he wasn't even fully on top of. It was post Baku that he really decided to release the Kraken, for want of a better term. So, yeah, it's a It is a banger. So it is a great tune. But yeah, Max Verstappen will win this race. I have very little doubt in my mind of that. But who will be the banger driver? Who will have the bangingest drive? Because I'm not going to go Max because this is just boring to just give him race win and the banging, even though he'll probably have the best drive. I'm going Lance Stroll. A little bit different, right? Now, this is mainly based off the two things I've acknowledged in Lance. He typically starts the season well, and he was running really well in Saudi. Not as well as Fernando, of course. Fernando was literally leading the Grand Prix. But he was running, he got a great move around the outside of Carlos Sainz, and he was running really well at this race last year. Again, he had no testing because he messed his hand up, didn't he? And he broke down, but he was having a great race. So I reckon Lance will surprise a few people this weekend. Do I think he'll finish ahead of Fernando? No. But I think he will still have a very good drive. This is definitely one of my predictions of all time. Exactly, TJD. That's exactly what I was going for. You know? Exactly what I was going for. So, next. Clanger drive. Who's going to have a stinky stinker? Well, a team you spelt Stroll wrong, Hannah darling. Waiting for the Stroll tweets. The Clanger drive, part of this is because I was quite disappointed by their team's performance last race, and I think this driver was the weaker of the two drivers over the course of the weekend, even though they finished ahead of their teammate. My Clanger drive for the 24 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix prediction is, Tobias has got it, Daniel Ricciardo. Didn't see enough from Racing Bulls last weekend, and I think Yuki did have the measure on him. I think if Yuki did have that set of fresh softs at the end, he'd have been plenty clear of Ricciardo. So, yeah. I'm not going to put Ocon again. Come on. I put Ocon last weekend, so... Look, it's a prediction. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. Racing Bulls shot. So, banger team next. Going to have the bangingest weekend as a team. I mean, it's Red Bull, isn't it? I'm not gonna beat around the bush with that one. I'm gonna say Red Bull. Clanger team, Racing Bulls. Yeah, I was disappointed. There's already a little bit of potential. I mean, there's more tension between Ricciardo and Tsunoda than any other teammate pairing after the first race of a season for a while. Like, hopefully, Laurent Mekies has kind of sorted all that out and calmed it all down a bit, right? Steadied the ship, but I'm not expecting much from the Racing Bulls this weekend. So we'll see. What about your predictions, though? 930 of you voted. Enough of mine. I don't care about mine. Who cares about my predictions? Not important, all right? What do you think? Race winner. 69% of the vote. Nice. Max Verstappen takes it, of course. 9% think Charles Leclerc is going to win. 8% Carlos Sainz. 6% think Sergio Perez will take the W. Predictable. Very nice. 69% of you. Grazie ragazzi. Banger drive. Lando Norris. 23% of you. Quite a big spread though. 23% went Lando. 18% went Charles Leclerc. 11% Carlos Sainz and 11% Oscar Piastri. So, bit of McLaren loving. Alright, bit of McLaren loving. Obviously, last year's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Lando hit the wall in qualifying, so Oscar out-qualified him. And the race wasn't great, I don't think. What happened? What happened with the McLarens? The McLarens finished 15th and 17th. Sorry. Ouch. Yeah, stinker. Oh yeah, of course they got damaged, didn't they? Wait, wasn't it like the damage from Oscar's car hit Lando, or am I thinking of? Yeah, I'm sure that happened, wasn't it? Didn't one of them get damaged and then that flew off and it hit the other one? Yeah, it was. Damn, that was some shocking luck for the McLarens. But hopefully this time around for them, it won't be quite so stinky. You right up there, buddy? You still balancing? Good. Well, look, if you're listening audio only, thank you for listening. But you're not seeing a balancing sausage dog on my shoulders. And no hands, by the way. We're hands free. I made sure to train him to do this since he was a little puppy, because this was always the dream. I can just work with a sausage dog on my shoulder. Living the life. I'm living the life, truly. Right. But yeah, some big support for McLaren here. We'll see. Hopefully they'll have a bit of a stronger weekend. Kind of a bit of a nothing race, wasn't it? But good points early on. Minton's always ready for bed, as the red light is flashing on the camera. But we're going to go until the camera dies, and then we'll swap the battery, right? I want to rinse everything I can out of this battery, because these two haven't got much juice either. What about Clanger Drive? Ocon, 12%. You've gone for him again. Pretty even spread, though. 12% Ocon wins it. 10% Hamilton, 10% Tsunoda, 9% Sargent. It was also 9% Stroll, the exactly same number of votes. I think they both got 80 votes. The exact same number. So yeah, not much love for SD. SD not very bestie amongst you lot. You evil, evil people. How dare you? How dare you? Poor little Esteban. Poor little... How will he sleep at night? I mean, look, the Alpine's Alpine's against the ropes at the minute, so it's going to happen, isn't it? Right, banger team, you lot, McLaren, 35% of the vote. 25% Ferrari, only 13% giving it to Red Bull, 9% Mercedes. But yeah, a lot of McLaren support for Saudi. See, they run better in high-speed corners than low-speed corners, so the S's will serve them well. A lot of the back straight as well. It's pretty much, you got the two little hair, you got the little hairpin and your little chicane at the start, but then it's pretty much all medium high speed. So, in theory, yeah, probably plays into McLaren's hands somewhat. We'll see. We'll see. And then Clanger team, you lot, shock. Alpine, 54%. It's too easy, or it's too easy to hit Alpine, right? So I went with someone else, but 54% of you think Alpine. Clanger, 9% Sauber, 9% Aston Martin, 7% Mercedes. Alpine. Albread, because bread is pain, pain in French. I was thinking as well, so spoiler alert, my video that I'm going to try and get out tomorrow, don't talk to me about Adobe. I'm so angry with Adobe right now. I lost like 4, maybe even 5 hours of my evening last night dealing with Adobe, and that actually made my problem worse. Thank you. But I'm going to try and get my video out tomorrow, which is all about a certain French team in crisis at the minute. And I was thinking, they've copied McLaren's new senior structure. So it's like Leclerc. Le Claron. Is that good? Good French? Le Claron? Oui, oui. Oh dear, what am I doing? Right, so there are your predictions for the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But, of course, there is not only F1 going on this weekend in Jeddah. There is also F2. Let's look at my F2 predictions. Oh, actually, you know what? No, let's not do that, because I just realised I've exported it, and I've not actually updated the names. So instead of embarrassing myself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think right now, who shall I put as my bangers and clangers for F2? Really, really interesting first weekend for sure. Really interesting first weekend. Premiers were nowhere, which they will turn that around. So I'm going to put Minton down because he keeps almost falling off. You're going to go back to Mama, right? Say bye to everyone. Bye. That's what I imagine his accent is. Right. Go on, buddy. Go to sleep. Right. Yes, it was a strange weekend in F2. Obviously, Zane Maloney dominance made Bohr fans. Or who do I think is going to put it on pole? Obviously, Kush put it on pole, but he got it taken off him. Bortoletto was up there as well. Victor didn't run great in the race, but he also didn't run great. He was doing all right in Saudi, and then he just spun on his own. I mean, I'd love to say Behrman, but for him to turn it around, okay. I've just seen a name. I've just seen a name that I think I'm going to back for a pole position. Okay, feature race winner, probably going to be... Okay, I'm going to go for him. Sprint winner? Okay, I've got someone in mind. And then banger team. Who's gonna bring the sauce? Okay. I've got my 2 predictions done. Let's get this exported. This should automatically update the graphic in OBS. In theory, let's see if it works. My predictions for the 2024 Saudi Arabian round 3 and 4 F2 season are. Boom, there we go. Pepe Marti, pole position. Zane Maloney will win the feature race again, because that guy was on absolute smoke. I know Bahrain's quite a different track to Saudi, but I mean, Rodin have clearly given him an unreal car. Sprint winner, I'm going Jack Crawford. Now Aston Martin ex Red Bull. He was doing a pretty good job. He had car difficulties, didn't he? I seem to remember. Banger Team Campos. As the battery's gone. Woo! Yeah. Look, I knew it was going to happen, all right? It's just, right, let's give this battery a go. Let's see how much juice this one's got, right? We're going to make this work, everyone. Right, no, we've got rainbow now. Bit of rainbow backgrounds. You can't say I don't bring you colourful streams, right? Colourful videos. Oh, this has got 2 bars as well. That's actually charged all right. I think that should get us through the rest of it. Battery deader than Hamilton's. Oh, yeah, mundane. That was a bit of a stinker from Mercedes on the old cooling front, wasn't it? But yeah, banger team Campos. I think they're gonna bring it again. Really strong weekend. Again, if Hadjar doesn't get punted around by Bortoletto at the start, he's bringing back big points surely as well. So Hadjar and Marty have given him a very good car this year. Thank you, Subdeep, by the way, for the super chat. I have this weird feeling Red Bull doesn't want to sack Checo, even though they want him to perform well week in, week out, and this whole Danny Rick thing is just good marketing for V-Carb. So you think, actually, there's no plan on getting rid of Checo at all. I mean, I guess it kind of does both, right? Because if Checo steps up in a big way this year and becomes the dream second driver, and is closer to Max but not too close, if he fulfills all that, then great. Then they've got all this marketing, like you say, Subdeep, about, you know, having Ricciardo at Racing Bulls. I'm calling it Racing Bulls. Having Daniel Ricciardo at Racing Bulls, bringing attention to that, getting him back in the limelight, blah, blah, blah. But also, if Checo doesn't step up, if he regresses even further and Ricciardo has a really strong season, it's not been an amazing first race for him, but a stronger season throughout, then they've seen Ricciardo and they'll do the swap. So I guess either way, it doesn't really matter either way. But also, given everything we're hearing about Red Bull, I'm sure that, you know, there's going to be a lot of decisions that the Austrian side of Red Bull and the Thai side of Red Bull, and I'm putting Christian Horner into that side because it's quite clear that there's Christian Horner Thai allegiance with the Uvidjas there, and then you've got Red Bull, Mintzlaff, Marco, Verstappen there on a different side. I mean, we even know that, you know, Marco wanted De Vries, Horner never wanted De Vries. So Marco was like, Christian was proven right, about De Vries not paying off, whatever. So when we say Red Bull, it's like there's 2 sides of Red Bull. So it's like I'm sure one side, I'm sure the Thai, Uvidja, and probably Horner side of Red Bull would welcome Alex Albon back. I'm not sure the Austrian Mintzlaff, Marco, Verstappen side would necessarily welcome him back quite so much. There we go. And thank you, Pit Lane Pulse, as well, for the super chat. Not to put you on the spot. Oh, here we go. Not to put me on the spot, but if you were the bookies, how would you have the odds on F2 champion Behrman, Kimi, Miata, Martin, and now Maloney? I think the first race showed us a lot of... Yeah, it's a spec series, but if you don't have a team that can get the setup of the car right, and, you know, Prima have the facilities. They messed up this first weekend badly. They made a mistake. I don't think Prima are going to be out of there for the whole season. I think Zane Maloney has started strong. I think Rodin are giving him a really good car around Bahrain. I mean, the ART did what Rodin did last year, didn't they? Because Porsche and Martin were flying Bahrain last year. They were on a different level. They were just so much quicker than everyone else, seemingly. My odds-on champion, you still got to mainly base it off of last year's results. So for me it's Behrman or Marta. I think they had to be the favourites going into it, and you shouldn't really knee-jerk reaction change that just because ART and Prima didn't have a fantastic first weekend. So I'd probably still say Behrman or Marta. I think Behrman's had the higher highs, but also he wasn't as consistent as Victor last year. You should check out my chat with Ollie that I had in Jan, by the way, if you haven't already, if you want to hear a bit more about that. I think Marty's put himself right in the conversation. It's a lot of it this early season. If the Prima takes half a year to work out their car, then they potentially putting Kimi and Ollie, way back on points, and then they've got to try and catch up. Whereas if Rodin and Campos and High Tech, Paul Aram is up there, if these teams have worked it out from day dot, then they're going to give their drivers, you would think, competitive cars throughout more of the season. That's where it's going to be really difficult for Kimi and Ollie. And that's where you've got to think the teams, be that Mercedes looking at Kimi or Ferrari looking at Ollie, or loads of these drivers are now supported by F1 teams. Those teams have to try and look beyond just the results and try and understand, what kind of car are they being given? Are they being given a competitive car? If not, are their performance... are they being given an amazing car and they're getting mid results, or are they being given a terrible car and they're getting great results, It's difficult. But yeah, thank you, Pit Lane Pulse, for putting me on the spot there. I can take it. Because actually, talking of off non-F1 escapades this weekend, and I see your Aidan, your post about a certain F1 academy. Let's talk about it. You asked and we listened. Here's everywhere that you can watch the 24 F1 Academy season opener, including our brand new YouTube channel. So it's going to be live on... Wow, that's really zoomed in. It's going to be on YouTube. And yeah, so you can watch it on YouTube. And it's going to be... Oh, you got all the different countries here. Sorry, it's quite zoomed in on the graphic. It's going to be on Sky in the UK. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be streamed live on YouTube. Which is pretty cool. So, yeah. Check it out this weekend. I'm really interested to see F1 Academy. Look, at the end of the day, I like seeing racing. Racing, and especially in F4 cars as well. They're using F4 cars. I think there's same chassis, right, as W Series, I think. That'd be interesting to see, for sure. Definitely. Thank you again, Subdeep, for the super chat. Albon's a Red Bull. Not that pain again. Being Asian, I want him to be successful. I really hope Toto can give him a call. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, Science is available, Alonso's available. The more time goes on, the more I'm not convinced Alex is going to get a top seat, and he might just stay at Williams, to be honest, the longer time goes on. But yeah, make sure you check out F1 Academy this weekend. More racing, give it a go. I'm 100% going to be on that as much as I can this weekend. Should be interesting to see. Dorian Pieh looks very good. Looks very, very competitive. Seen her perform in other disciplines, and she looks very, very good. Very good. But yeah, before we move on, Fantasy League. If you've not started your fantasy team, what you doing? This is my team for this weekend. I've made 3 changes, and I've brought Haas in because I'm deluded. I've got no other way of putting it. Haas are in for Racing Bulls because I didn't back them. I brought Lando in for Fernando because Aston kind of disappointed. I think McLaren will run better this weekend. Hulkenberg's come in for Ricciardo, so I think Hulkenberg will have a better performance than Daniel Ricciardo this weekend. Yeah, those are my 3 changes. Those are my 3 changes. So I took a 10-point penalty, got 141 points from the first week. Took a 10-point penalty for bringing in 1 extra change, but you just got to go bold, right? Oh, is it pronounced Pain? Dorian Pain. There you go. Thank you, Levs. Appreciate that. Dorian Pain. But yeah, she's very good. She's very competitive, so be interesting to see how she does. She's probably the favourite, I imagine. Part of Mercedes, which is exciting. But yeah, that's my fantasy league. Check it out. P3YMECKL06 or 06. I'm not actually sure. There's a link in the description down below if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you, Ian, for the super chat, by the way. Verstappen clears the championship, no issue. Do you think he'll go to Mercedes for a brand new challenge? And thank you, Sam Rodriguez. Take my money, Tomo. You've earned it. I've not earned it, Sam, but thank you. Tell Minton my dog Kepley says hi. Kepley, that's a quality name for a dog, Sam. Kepley. Kepley. Attack Sam. Attack. I hope Kepley is a small... I'm picturing Kepley as a small dog, not a really big dog that will actually do some damage, right? Thank you, J999, for the copy pasta as well, by the way. If Verstappen clears the championship, no challenge, do you think he'll go to Mercedes for a brand new challenge? Well, again, this whole Verstappen potentially moving away thing isn't so much about it. It's more a politics thing, isn't it? Going on behind closed doors. And at the end of the day, with a regulation change upcoming, there is no guarantee that Red Bull will be... I mean, the chances of, you know, with so many different engines, you know, you're going to have a Honda power unit on the grids, you know, in 2026. Like, you're going to have Red Bull doing it themselves this time. Like, the chance of them being as dominant as they are, just from a power unit point of view, like, they could be in the same position. There's no guarantee of this domination beyond next season, really. Like, so it kind of, I said that in my video, like, we're coming to the end of, by the time, if he does make the move, it was like when Lewis made his move, he moved to Mercedes 1 year before the regulation change, took that 1 season of, you know, being in the 2013 Mercedes, which won him a race, but not much else. And then 2014, he was flying, you know. If he was making this move, you know, you saw Red Bull had a really good car by the end of 2022. If Max was trying to make the move to Mercedes for 2023, that would have been ridiculous, right? But like, Red Bull don't have much longer in this regulation cycle. No one has much longer in this regulation cycle, so there's no guarantee, like, from 26 on. Whereas there is a guarantee right now that the 2025 car is still going to be sick. And the Mercedes car in 2025 is still not going to be as good as Red Bull's. But that's the way it is. If Max wanted to challenge, he'd move to Haas. Oof. Nah, Haas are good now. Haas are goated now. Come on, Haas are goated now. Because actually, I do want to address a little quote from a certain Mr. George Russell. Don't know why I found it. It's a quote from George speaking English, and I found a Portuguese article that is now translated back into English. Look, I was in a rush, but I didn't want to be too late for the stream, and I knew I needed to find this quote, and this came up, so we're going with it. All right, we're going with it. Russell, when asked about hypothetical pairing with Verstappen at Mercedes, all the teams want the best possible pairing, and Max is the best driver at the moment. George knows Will. He knows what he's talking about. He's not wrong. I would welcome anyone, and I believe I can beat anyone. As he should. As he should. Look. Do I think he'd beat Max Verstappen in a straight fight? I think Max is the better driver. But I think in that Mercedes... Yeah, I think Mercedes... You look at the Hamilton, you know, Bottas. Again, I went through the numbers over their 5 years of teammates. Hamilton, Bottas. Valtteri would out-qualify Lewis about 30% of the time. on average. I think one year it was like 35%. A couple of the other years it was like 20%, right? So like just over 1 in every 3, Valtteri would outqualify Lewis. And do I think the performance gap between Bottas and Hamilton is smaller than the performance gap between Perez and Verstappen? I don't. I just think Mercedes gave them to a car that was more drivable at the ceiling and less tricky to get to the ceiling than I think Red Bull have done. And Max has just got this inane nature ability to drive the super high sensitivity car, right? I think that it would be closer. I still think Max would beat George though. But the egos on these two, that would be sauce. That would be the bomb. That would be the bomb level of spice between them two. Oh, I'd love it. People say, "Oh, I'm just here for the racing. I don't want the drama." You're lying. You know you like the drama a little bit, right? You're allowed to like the drama a little bit. Yes, I'm here primarily for the racing. That's what got me into F1 in the first place. I wasn't sitting there as a little kid being like, "Oh, mummy, daddy, look, the driver just called the other driver suck his balls." Like, that's not how I got into the sport. But you can't tell me you don't. You love the drama. I know you love the drama, right? Stop pretending you don't. You're not kidding me, right? You're not kidding anyone else here, right? You love the drama. I'm happy with a bit of drama, all right? I don't mind a bit, especially when on track it's a bit of a procession as to who will win, right? The other 19 drivers, very competitive. But at the end of the day, when it's a given who's going to win, right? It's not as entertaining. And people say, oh, Mercedes dominated for 8 years. Right. Well, that's a very... Right, first of all, you had Hamilton versus Rosberg in 14, 15, 16, which was way closer than Checo versus Max has ever been, right? Then you had 17, 18, where Vettel was literally leading the championship after... I think it was like 12 races in 2018. He was leading the championship. He was ahead of Lewis. And then he bottled it. Sorry, he did. And then, 2019 was pretty dominant from Mercedes. 2020 was the most dominant Lewis season. He could have won 14 in a row that year. Come on. But to be fair, Max has only been dominant. But he wasn't dominant for the first half of 22. I'd say dominant when it's a given who's going to win. And even the start of 23, again, Checo won those. Checo won in Baku. Max hadn't quite worked out the car, so I'd say the Max Verstappen dominance has been for just under a full season in terms of true dominance. Just because he had that wobble at the start of 23. But there you go. That's just my thoughts on the matter. Anyway, Alonso said the same thing. Well, me and Fernando. We're like that. What else is there? What else is there to talk about? We've been talking for 45 minutes now. It's been quite a long pre-race Chinwag, isn't it? But there's been a lot going on. Obviously, because I'm doing this a bit late, we've got a few quotes from drivers. Carlos has been a bit sick, hasn't he? He came to the track, had to go home, so hopefully he's better in time for FP1 tomorrow. Could the RB20 outdo the RB19? No, I do think that part of that 22.5 second gap, if Charles doesn't have his cooling issues, if Charles doesn't have his brake cooling issues, yes, I was kind of half right. And if Mercedes don't have both cars had their battery issues, their PUs were overheating, is that gap smaller? I think it is much smaller, yes. But do I think it's still less than 10 seconds? No. Like, I still think Max comfortably wins that race. And Max probably had a little bit in hand as well, potentially. He was just super consistent. But also, like, you look at Max was still getting track limit violations, like, towards the end of the race. So he's a driver he's not just going to, subconsciously, he'll drive within himself when he's got a 20-second gap to P2. But I don't think consciously he's, like, pushing any less, in my opinion. Bit late balling, I know, right? I know. Could you make WRC content? I'd love to go to see some WRC in person. That'd be sick. But yeah, I don't think that gap's going to be. I still think it's going to be double figure seconds. Yes, if everyone has no issues, I still think Max is more than 10 seconds ahead of the rest. But I don't think it's like, I don't think it's 20 or more. I think it's probably like 12, 15. But hopefully he does have some issues so that we actually have some competitive battling at the front, because he's just him in that car is just too good. At the end of the day, it's not just you say, oh, Red Bull's dominant. Red Bull with Max at the wheel is dominant. It's not just the car. It's him in that car. He is the only human being in the world that can make that car dominant. That's what I believe, because he's been at that team his whole career. So he knows exactly what the car needs from him. The team knows exactly what the car needs from him. No, I didn't say that right. He knows exactly what he needs from the car. The team know exactly what he needs from the car. What you know what I'm trying to say? Oh dear, been a long day. Yeah, that's the way I see it. Anyway, I think it will be better this weekend. I think it will be more close battling. But anyway, thank you all for coming. I think we're going to wrap it up now. Thank you, Stats Guru. Good to see you. Verstappen's 22-second margin was the biggest winning gap in the first race of the season since Nico Rosberg won by 26.7 seconds over K-Mag at the inaugural race of the hybrid era in Australia 2014. That's a stat from the Stat Guru. Love that. Love that. But yeah, thank you all for coming. Appreciate you all taking the time. Arik, Leela, Rivethead, Patrick, Ludd, Sense, Sploder, Charmander, Alita, Andrew, Priest, Marmone, Daniel, Matthias, Liam, Lee, Jamie, Thomas, Solace, Stick, Tack, Rex, Kleiner, Moon One, Rivethead, Ian, William, Jacob, Blob, Leela, Wife, Shalene, Jan, Michaela, Sletton, Frank, Salmon, Cone, Sean, Adrian, Jessica, Patrick. Appreciate you all taking the time. Yeah, I'm going to try and get my video out tomorrow. We'll see, as long as Premiere Pro plays ball, which I assume it won't, because I cannot tell you how angry I was last night. I was very angry. But yeah, thank you all for coming. New video tomorrow. That's the plan. And post-race live stream at some point after the race. I'm not exactly sure when. We'll see. Bye.